Hi guys, welcome to another one of my videos. In today's video, I will show you how to utilize light and shadow to make any drawing realistic. Light source there. There will be a highlight up here, a shadow on this side, and I'm gonna break it down. This area will be a bounce light, so light reflecting off the floor. Here will be a gradient, dark light, all that stuff, and then there is a shadow, a cast shadow. So you shade the middle part, try and keep it a little bit dark, and then basically it's a gradient. So you have a darkest area and then it goes lighter and lighter towards light. The bounce area will be gray, and yeah, it won't be super dark. And then here I'm shading this to bring it back to life. You can see that when I shade it, it just becomes like there is a light source there, and then it becomes like a 3D marble or like a sphere. And then now we're shading the cast shadow just to kind of give it a bit of a more realistic view. All right, another way to do this is to basically use a perspective of where the light's coming from. So I'm drawing another sphere here. I'm gonna chop this up into sections and it gets darker and darker, and then we'll still have the bounce light at the end. So as you can see, dark, lighter, lighter, so we have a gradient and it just becomes light at the end. Same thing with the shadow. I'm doing something similar right there. So yeah, so moving on, I'm gonna draw 6 faces to show you how to practically use all this information that I'm giving you. With this first one, the light's coming right from in front of his face. It's in the direction of right to left. So the furthest point from the light source is going to be the darkest, and then as you get closer to the light source, you just want to keep it lighter and lighter and lighter in general. So yeah, so you can see that I started by shading his hair and how dark it is, and then as I go down, it's still dark up like at the top of his head, near his nose, near like even his different parts of his head, near his eyes, his forehead, yeah, and all his left side is darker than his right side because that's where the light's coming from. So now you can see that with the next few faces, I'm gonna show you wherever the light source is coming from is going to be the lightest part, and then we're going to push it darker and darker. But in this scenario, it's coming from the right and from the lower end, therefore it makes him look the way he looks right now. Moving on to the next face. Actually, let me just fix his nose first. So we're gonna put the light source at the top of his head there, and it's gonna come down all the way down. So as you can see, the furthest point from where the light is, I'm shading it the darkest, and then the closer to the light, the lighter it gets. So this time also his left side is dark and his right side will be lighter, but the effect of the light is different. So it's because it's coming from above now, it's just gonna work on his face differently. So with this third one, it's going to be the exact same concept, but the light will be more extreme to the right. So if you just watch how I'm doing it and follow through. Okay, so for the remaining three faces, we're gonna come at completely different angles. This time we're starting, the light's coming from the left to the right. Let me just fix up some stuff with his face. But you can see that the light is in a different direction now. So yeah, you can see the arrows of how it would probably look. This time his right side is much darker. And then as we move closer to the light, it gets lighter and lighter. And that's how things work in real life too. So just imagine if you had a torch to your face somehow. What would it look like? But that doesn't just account for a torch. You can imagine the sun and how they would cast shadows and so on. So moving forward, I'm going to try and keep the light behind their heads and show you how it would look like to shade that kind of angle. Here, it's behind his head. There's like a backlight, but it's not completely behind him. So it's to the left, but also, yeah, so behind him to the left. And then you can see areas where the light is hitting his back. It's a little bit lighter. So for example, on his left shoulder, there's a bit of light and around his neck, but then his face and shoulders and hair, they're going to be much darker. So with this last one, he's angry because the light is coming from his back. So this is backlight, and it's just gonna cause him to go darker. So imagine yourself taking a photo with a light behind you or the sun behind you, and how it would look in that photo. Usually it's your face is darker. You can't see your features that well, and that's what I'm gonna do here. He basically becomes dark in general. The points that are furthest from the light, always darkest. So we're going to do the same with this face. And if you just follow and look at his face, you're going to see what we're doing. And here's the finalized look. You can see it's dark, but there's a bit of light in it. So thank you guys for watching, and I hope this video helped you in some way. If it did, I would appreciate if you can click the like button or subscribe to this channel for a lot more content like this.